Previously on Alan Wake, I wrote a horror story that has come true. Thomas Zane did the same in the 70s.
You will go no further.
If I continue like the Dark Presence wants me to, the story I'm writing won't save Alice. It's a horror story. No one will survive.
You knew Zane! Thomas Zane! You're the Lady of the Light in the song!
He left something behind to help me. The clicker.
Alan thought of this as he stood on the rim of Cauldron Lake, the clicker in his hand. He took a deep breath and jumped.
I can get to her now. I can finish this. I had a hangover. My head was about to explode and the light hurt my eyes. I needed my sunglasses and painkillers to dull the pain. In one of my finer moments of self-deception, I swore to quit drinking.
Welcome back to some more Alan Wake, everyone. I believe this is the second time that we've started an episode with a hangover. Last time we were in jail, though, so this is a little bit better.
The sunglasses made the world look bearable. Now I could keep my eyes open without feeling like a vampire in the sun. I wasn't sure I'd make it out there without some
What kind of
painkillers.
layout is this? Oh, right. He wants me to take drugs. Why is there a hole in our mirror?
The pills worked fast.
Or I guess we don't
The
have a
prospect
mirror,
of being
maybe?
awake started
No,
to seem
okay,
bearable
but still.
again.
Oh, wait, it's the handle. Odd. I have that exact same shelf setup, except mine's a little bit more stocked.
There was a message waiting for me on the machine.
What is there? I just take a full scope. Make sure there's no coffee, no manuscripts, no. This is a cute little apartment.
You have one new
I really
message.
like it.
Ow! Are you still asleep? Wakey, wakey! You should have your show on your TiVo. If Alice wasn't too mad to record it, as she called me earlier and really chewed me out. Yeah, we went a little overboard last night. But parties are a part of this business. Al, look, I'm saying this as your friend. She's not doing your career any favors by trying to run your life like that, okay? I'll talk to you later, Al. Watch the show!
Oh, stop, Barry. You trying to persuade us to get away from her isn't gonna work. I promise we're together 2 years from now. Can I actually sit? No.
Welcome back to the Harry Gallic Show.
Thank you, everybody.
My
We
TV's
have
quality
a
is awful.
Great show tonight. I've been talking with the best-selling author Alan Wake about his new book, The Sudden Stop.
Yeah, good read. Go buy it.
No, it is a good read. Look, I'm gonna be honest here.
Is that wise?
No, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I got people who give me the lowdown on books. I'm a busy guy. But this one, I actually read from cover to cover. I mean, I'm a big fan.
Wow, thanks.
Now, this might be a spoiler for those who haven't read the book yet, based on the sales figures.
Then maybe don't say
Two
it.
people out there who haven't read the book yet. But this last book is all about the death of the main character, the hard-boiled New York detective, Alex Casey. Now, there's been a lot of outrage about this. Why the hell did you kill Casey? What the hell were you thinking, man?
Good riddance. No, seriously though. 7 years and 6 books is a long time. He was a gloomy guy to spend all your working hours with, and it was a good run. But it's time to explore new things. My next book will be a departure from the old for me.
You selfish bastard, always thinking of yourself. Well, you've certainly given us a lot of entertainment over the years.
I think that's fine.
Now that you
Killing
mention
off a
it,
character
Casey
you're
was
done
a
with.
gloomy guy. Never had much luck with his love life with the ladies. Was that autobiographical in any way?
Yeah, no kidding. Casey's lady friends tended to die on him. With Casey, it was all about his pain. No, nothing autobiographical about that. I'm a happily married man. My wife is my muse.
Well,
Oh, we're still married, okay.
congratulations. That's great to hear.
I wasn't sure
So,
when that
how's
occurred.
the publicity tour been treating you?
Good? Great. But I gotta say, I'm
Look
glad
at
to
me
be back
rocking
home
my
in New York.
shades. I'm just trying to open this pop real quick while I watch this TV show with you guys. We're having a little,
You got into a
movie
fight
night.
with some paparazzi.
Oh, man. Well, that guy was really in my face. I lost my temper. I know that wasn't cool.
You are famous for that temper.
Well, I did also write several books.
Well, your latest novel is called The Sudden Stop, and it's in bookstores now. Go get it. That means the two of you out there who haven't bought it yet. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you tonight. I want to thank all our guests for the evening. Alan Wake, Sam Lake. Once more, do the face for his Sam. There he is. And our musical guests, Poets of the Fall. Thank you, and good night.
At least I'd been funny. I told myself I could live with that.
Hey, Woody. Did you watch the show?
I didn't say anything stupid if that's what you want to know.
Okay, Grumpy. You want to ask him something?
Are you going to start with me about drinking now?
You know what?
I should have followed
back
her
to sleep
advice.
then.
But
Why am
suddenly
I
was
being
angry,
such a dick
mostly at
to
myself,
her?
And she was there. What? Now you can't even talk to me?
Well, this morning I was angry because you said you'd be home at midnight and you showed up at 7 a.m. and passed out in mid-sentence. Now I'm over it. Are you angry?
This goddamn tour. It's gotten out of hand.
Oh, honey. It's almost over, right? We can get back to normal. Then you can start writing again.
I'm sorry, honey.
Alan, you're not thinking straight. Just take a shower and go back to bed, huh?
Yeah, you're right, honey. I'm sorry. Once this is over, let's go away together. A vacation. Just you and me. Some peace and quiet.
We were on tour for 2 years?
Somehow, the clicker was the key to the cabin. I had to return to Cauldron Lake to save Alice. I'm going back to the lake to finish this. I'm going to write an ending to the story in the manuscript on my own terms, to make it all right.
Why can't you just write it here?
The last page is still in the typewriter. I need to read it first. Everything needs to be just right. Zane tried to cut some corners, and it didn't end well.
Okay, ready when you are.
I'm sorry, Sarah, but I need to do this alone. Barry, take her gun. Miss Weaver, close the door when I...
You probably could have just asked her to stay. Like, she knows the threat is real. Pulling a gun on a cop is probably not the smartest move, but whatever. We'll overlook it for his sake.
See you later. When I got out, it was warm and sunny. I'd flicked the switch of the clicker. Had it done this? I didn't stop to question it. I had to take advantage of the sunlight to get to the lake. On Zane's page, I'd stood on the rim of Cauldron Lake, about to use the clicker. That's where I was headed.
Are we amping up for last boss fight? Hopefully better than all the little mini boss fights.
Alone, in daylight, surrounded by the beauty of the Pacific Northwest landscape. It was hard not to let doubt creep in
Horizon.
one last time. I could still chalk everything up to a dream, a delusion. I had enough imagination to make up something like
Why am I
this.
just parked out
Having been
here?
in the cabin all this time, trapped in a story inside my head, gone mad from grief over Alice's death like Hartman had claimed, there would be no way of knowing. I told myself it didn't really matter. My course was set.
Look at this. Movie night, a beautiful ride. Can we change cars? I want this red one. Don't tell me to get back in my car. I want to get in this car. Yeah. And now we're playing Grand Theft Auto, guys. Just making sure. I didn't see anything shiny with that quick little drive-by. My luck, there was like 3 things there. Oh no.
The darkness had touched me. There was a link between us, always would be. I could feel its presence again, getting closer.
Can you, Alan? Why is someone not here? You know, all this time that the darkness has had Alice, you'd think they could dress her. And I thought my wife was already dead. I thought she drowned. And now we had to, like, ride her back into existence. That's fine. I don't need the light. There are lights in the car. You know, if the clicker made it all grayed out the first time, why can't I just click it again? This car handles horribly. Just wanted to give that guy a little love tap. We can try to take this one out. Bye, buddy. Ooh, a hotel. I just want to stop right here and grab that stock up. It might be a hotel, but it's as good as a convenience store. There's something inside too. Let's go ahead and go in there and grab that real quick. Look at this. Someone left their coffee in the bathroom.
Based on the signature in the motel register, Agent Nightingale had stayed here, in room number 2.
Wait, does that matter? These doors don't have numbers on them. How am I supposed to know? I'm just gonna try to open all of them, I guess. I guess the first one is... creepy.
This had obviously been the room where Agent Nightingale had stayed when he hadn't been busy harassing me.
Does that matter? Like... what the... okay. I mean, it's weird. For sure. Pictures of all of us, but...
look after yourself and your co-workers.
Could have fooled me, pal.
Now, do you think I have to, like, walk? Or do you think we can just ramp that? Because I don't know how far away the cabin is. There we go. It wasn't a great ramp, but that's fine. Was this the Anderson farm? Come on, car. Oh, yeah. I'm glad we got back in the car. Dang. Come on, turn. Wait, was that a coffee? I don't think so. Wait, is this not actually... okay, I thought I saw a road over here, but I guess not. Walking it is. I'm glad we had the car to at least go through all the flying objects at least. What is that? Oh wait, is that the deer sculpture? Like, how are you surprised by this anymore, Alan? Come on. This happens on every bridge. It gets torn up, things come flying at you. We've already established you don't know how to swim, even though you went into the water to save your wife. Crazy times indeed. Definitely want to clear them all out. That way they can't come from behind. Giant fridges in front of us are hard enough without, you know, tires from behind. Let's give our flashlight just a second to charge back up. Don't want to waste too many batteries. Alright, let's go over here and then turn back around. Yeah. Are there any batteries in any of these cars? I meant to throw a flare, not a flashbang. But that's fine. It's great. Let's take out the trash, not the trash can, the fridge first, because I just feel like the biggest thing probably hurts the most, you know? Like, yeah, that hurt a little bit, but probably not as bad as the fridge would have. It doesn't look like there's any flashlights or anything. Perfect. Oh, is that the same one that I attacked earlier? Whatever. We're out of flashbangs, but kept that fight nice and simple. Dang cars coming to life. Where did you come from? I was all ready for the guys way up there in the distance. Bring another one into existence. That's it. What are you guys doing? Mario is chilling. Weird buildup. Now the darkness is bad and evil, but why does it gotta destroy everything? Set fires. Like, it does know that the more fire, the more light, right? There's a vehicle that's alive, but I'm not sure where it's at. Oh, there it is. Oh, I don't have anything else. Yeah, hopefully it just... Hopefully it just stays down there-ish. Oh, but look at all that beautiful light right there. We're just gonna run for it because don't particularly want to get run over. Ow. Alright, let's get in this and leave. I don't have flashbangs. I guess we didn't really... Dang, okay. Like I said, every time, always trying to clear our bridges. Oh, I guess maybe we have to go down there? No? Maybe get out? Okay, yeah, that's what it is. We just need to dock up a bit and head into the dark tunnel. Back to making amazing decisions. It's kind of funny because it makes you wonder, like, I'm not going to worry about every single one of these. Actually, I'll probably do this. But it kind of makes you wonder about all of the warnings that the Lady of the Light places. If everyone just ignores them, what's the point? We've just been going out doing our own thing anyway. Oh, shoot, I've... hit with your combo attacks. It's so annoying. Mostly because then if you get into a group, one mistake makes your death. Like right here. If one of them would have gotten me, they could have all just comboed me to death, and that's no fun. Shouldn't be too much going on behind me, so I'm just gonna ignore that for a minute. Okay, I lied. There's a ton going on behind me. And there's still a ton coming. I don't have enough ammo for all this crazy. Oh yeah, I do. I have a ton of pistol rounds. I didn't even realize. Are they endless? Do I just need to leave? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. What happens? I don't want to like go through here and make a bunch more spawn, you know? Me to death. Come on. You know, it'd be a fun mechanic since the lights can heal you. If you just like shined your flashlight in your face. It takes up a whole battery, but you know, it gives you one little chunk of life or something. Can you hear me now? Good. And I feel like Cauldron Lake was more central to everything, the whole rest of the game. So it's interesting now how it's taking so long to like get back there, you know? Wait, yeah, come on here. I'm gonna follow these, see if I can't get a flare gun real quick or something. Ooh. Oh. I thought I threw it up my back. Yeah, let's go back inside, look for a switch or something to open that gate. Or is it in here? Because I assume that's what I'm supposed to be doing, is finding some kind of switch. Where are they? Friends? I hear you. You all still inside? I think that one just accidentally blew up. That's fine. Yeah, there we go. Ooh. Ooh, flare gun, perfect. That's what I like to see. Is this a radio? No. Oh, crap. Well, I had a flare gun. And then I wasted it. Heck. Alright. This isn't the car we came in, but it'll do. I missed the little ramp thing. Like, I missed it by just a tiny bit. But it was too strong. Don't mind if I do. Oh, cool. At least we got one more ammo. Like, the only problem I have with it giving me, the flare gun and stuff is it makes me really nervous that we're gonna have a lot more birds come. Can you just not? Okay, that's very, very slowly opening. It's enough. They got stuck, so it's fine. Oh, I thought that was manuscript taped to the front of it. My bad. Alright. A lot of driving this episode. Weird. Because I feel, you know, like almost invulnerable in the car because flying objects obviously aren't hitting me. And the headlights seem to be way more powerful than my little flashlight. Sorry about the kiddo screeching. He's very happy right now.
When I told Barry my plan back in the well-lit room, I'd acted as if I knew what I was doing. I didn't. I was operating on the shifting logic of a dream. I had to fight my way to the lake through the horrors of the night. I had to flick an old battered light switch imbued with childhood magic. I had to write a happy ending to a horror story. I had to save my wife from the dark prison she was being held in.
Where are we right now? Is this like the lake area? Like the cabin and stuff? Because nothing here looks familiar. I actually really want to reload all my guns and stuff real quick. Just in case, because I feel like this is the perfect area for the game to swarm me. Monsters, birds, whatever. I just want to be prepared and on the right loadout. Oh yeah, and lights. This is definitely about to get dicey. Turn these on as we go.
I will never give her to you.
Oh. Shit. I'm not trying to fight every object in this frickin' town. Ain't nobody got the life bar for that. Yeah. taking all fight forever. That's fine. Don't be throwing barrels at me. Anything in this building? Anything fun? No. Place to hide? Cool. I really don't know how long I'm supposed to be doing that or anything. It's pointed towards where they could be coming from. That should be enough. And I feel like I hear them dying in the background. Kind of like a bug zapper, you know? That should be enough. Come on, wake. We gotta go get our woman.
See Mirror Peak in the distance. That's where Cauldron Lake was.
I mean, kind of. Yeah, it's definitely throwing a lot of extra ammo and stuff at me for things not to be about to get real. Oh yeah, there they are. There's the birds. All right, go ahead and get that ready then. Do we get to ride in it? Wait, I need to jump down in it perfectly. Okay. Yes, roller coaster time. Just kidding, this is the slowest roller coaster ever. Burn, birdies. This is one of those few times I will condone animal violence. Don't let the birds swarm you. Okay, that was a lot easier than I expected it to be. I don't know if I'm scared for what's to come or like disappointed that it wasn't so bad. Let's go this way. I don't want to miss something, you know? I mean, I'm sure I've already missed plenty, but the least, like, as much as we can help it, let's try not to. Oh, man. That was a loadout if I've ever seen one. Oh, I guess that whole down area might have been extra. That's fine. Okay, here they come. Actually, I might just be able to burn them off. These ones haven't been so bad. Personally, I would just climb over it. Like, there's no reason he couldn't have. But I get it, Game mechanics, you know? I kind of want to save some of these flares, so I might stop. Because if we get swarmed at the lake or in this tunnel area looking place, you know, it might be just as convenient as it is for the birds. So unless we start really, really hurting, I think we should just conserve. Plus bonus, normal flares seem to keep the birds away just fine. I just didn't want to deal with them. But see, since we had the extras, I'm not wasting all of them on the birds. We could just make quick work of that little room. Feels good. Oh, I thought those were all flashbangs. I was like, damn. About to be crazy. Oh. Guess we have to go this way. This is starting to look more familiar. It, minus like all the lumber, it looks very, very similar to the first area we played through. Special delivery. Is it? Yeah, he's gonna be too fast to do that on. Shoot, let's just switch back to flares. And I just don't have, like, it's not even just that he's fast, it's just honestly kind of annoying. I don't like his mechanic at all. It's not like he's even harder to kill, because he's barely attacked. It's just that he's fast, so it takes forever. Especially that one area with Sarah where we had to get 2 of them. That just wasn't fun. That's okay. The rest of the game makes up for it. And he does have a cool weapon. When you do get him out of his darkness field, he looks pretty cool. I guess we can probably play with the shotgun for a little bit. Second special delivery. We'll go back to flares and shotguns. The weird, like, burn / shadow on the ground caught me off for a second. We're throwing boats now? That's weird. I know, I'm just kind of rushing past them. But it's annoying. Oh, shoot. Ah. Guess we might have to kill him. At least we could do that. Come on, one more. Yeah. I was like, please don't smack me off of here. Make me redo it. Maybe that'll be the final boss fight. Like, I have the actual boss being, you know, Barbara. Or what used to be Barbara. And then, like, 18 of those guys. Take notes, evil villains. If you want to stop a guy from getting his wife back, throw both at him. Working out well right now. Whoa! Throwing flaming gas canisters. That's working pretty well. Not gonna lie. It's a better one of her tactics for sure. Forgot to say so at the beginning, but hopefully my voice is a little bit more back to normal, a lot less sniffling. I'm so sorry for the last one. I'm gonna figure out and start recording my voice on a separate track. That way I can edit most of that out for you guys. I know it was super cringy. So if you're still with me after all that, thank you. And I will do better.
I needed to get the generator running.
I was gonna say, why is it red? I guess we could do the sensible thing, huh? And just follow the cords. So where was it? Up there. So it's this way. There it is. Found it. But clicking it's probably gonna be mayhem. Everything's stopped, right? Yeah, we're good. We're ready. Chainsaw dude. Not a chainsaw dude. Alright, so that's... If ever there was a time to just blatantly waste stuff, whoops, now is the time. Alright, that's enough wasting. I think we should have got enough down. Okay, if not all of them. Nice. They're definitely enough to make a good difference. But it seems we got them all out, so even better. Oh. Well, he was scary for about 1 second. I'm just obviously too powerful. He didn't want to fight me. He'd rather sacrifice himself to the power lines. Good decision. Good decision. You. I figure once it seems like we're definitely
turn back now.
End stage. Unless that's right now. We'll read all the manuscripts.
Do as you're told.
If you're trying to cut me in half, maybe make them a little bit lower. I'm not that tall. See, there you go. Oh, I can't hop it. Wow.
Never loved you.
That's fine. I'm still gonna save her. Whether or not she loved me, she doesn't deserve the crap she's going through. I'm legitimately terrified to just take one wrong step and get crushed. Like, oh man. I love my husband and I know he loves me, but I feel like I want to say here and now I don't expect him to do this crazy shit for me. This is a little bit much. Oh, destroy the tornado. Okay, well that's probably... So, before things get too real... Oh, just kidding. We'll do that after. That's a lot. That's a lot more than I thought. Says you. Oh, shoot. You right? You right. Oh. Completely blinded myself there for a second. And you guys. Sorry about that. Oh. Oh. Oh, wait. What if I just shot this into the tornado? Does that count? I do want to get closer, though. Oh, heck yeah, it does. Perfect. What have I been doing? I'm just going to put this one here so anything close to me dies. I'm just going to stand here. Fire into the abyss. I'm going to keep like a healthy stock of flare on my platform too. Just so, you know. Nothing swirling by besides to smack me. Is this unlimited? I can't tell if it's getting smaller or not. There's no health bar, right? I mean, I definitely think we're making progress. Things feel a little... Maybe if I shoot... Not just dead center. Oh, there's some birds up there.
To get right into its heart to hurt it.
Oh, yeah, it's just me being dumb. Okay.
You will fail.
What's its heart? Down there? Or up here? Up there. Don't tell me. Everyone in town just sees this guy standing on a cliff shooting flares at the lake. Not gonna lie, that would be kind of hilarious.
Baby, you were having a bad dream. It was just another
I don't
nightmare.
believe you.
No.
Everything's fine. You're home.
It wasn't a dream.
Everything's fine.
I don't believe.
Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on!
Yeah, for real. Isn't Alice like terrified of?
Shh, baby. The power's out. There's no light. Come back to bed and I'll make you forget all about your fear of the dark.
My fear? It's your fear. Why aren't you afraid? You're not Alice.
Guys, that's
Turn
right,
the lights
Alice.
on now. Where's the
Don't be
clicker?
lying
What
to
did you
me.
do with it?
Get it.
Alan, you're
What
scaring
do you
me
think
now.
it is?
Come back to bed. Have you taken your pills? Do you want me to call
Who are
Dr.
you?
Hartman?
I don't want anything from you.
I read your manuscript.
I don't
It's
remember where
brilliant.
we fought. Okay.
Departure is your
Good.
best
There's a
weapon.
marker.
You're a genius. I'm so proud of you. Come back to bed.
Ow.
Talk more about it in the morning. Come back
No.
to bed, Alan.
Come back to bed,
What?
Tom.
That's not my name. Or at least like. That's not my name, lady. Can't pretend to be my wife.
You must find your way to the cabin. It stands in your way. It won't let you pass. It has no heart. It's filled with darkness. You must fill its heart with light.
I already did that, I thought.
Don't mind him. He's Mr. Scott. Your friends will meet him when you're gone.
What? Quick, Alan, shove a glow stick up his nose.
Use the clicker.
I'm confused. Oh, this is kind of cool. What's going on? Bird? Kill the bird. I don't know if I can. Or miss. Hang on. Yeah! Give me that. I don't care about any of this other stuff. Pass. Cool. Barrel, phone, shopping cart.
I'm leaving you.
No, you're not.
What?
I'm leaving you, Alan. I met someone. I'm in love with someone else.
Alice?
Don't lie to me.
You can't.
Don't love me. Look, you even love yourself. All you do is torture yourself with work you can't do anymore.
No, I love you more than
All right,
anything
fake
in the
Alice.
world. You're my muse.
I'm not.
Who are you?
I mean,
what have you done with
to
my
be
Alice?
fair,
Alan? What are
like
you doing?
I could see,
What are you doing, Alan?
I could see Alice leaving Alan.
It wasn't true. Nothing like
Strictly
that. had ever
because,
happened.
like, he's kind of been an asshole multiple times.
I promise to be good. Please.
I don't want to bring
one
any of the
time,
birds, 'cause I
naughty
don't want to
boy.
fight them.
I will help you write your masterpiece. I will love you forever.
Now you will never get her back. I am much older than you.
Yeah, that just means you're weaker, right?
Older than your first work of art. I will find a new face to wear. Someone else to dream me free.
That's fine. I just want you to get, like, my family back.
I could feel Alice's presence close by.
Can you?
I understood what I had to do now. I knew how to write the ending to Departure. There's light and there's darkness. Cause and effect. There's guilt and there's atonement. But the scales always need to balance. Everything has a price. That's where Zane had gone wrong. There's a long journey through the night back into the light.
Alice? Alice?
Did we save her this time?
Oh no!
One year later. You know, this entire scenario could have been completely avoided if they would have just taken the keys to the right cabin in the first place. And the ones that were revealed later. Just saying. Wait, is the balance my life for hers?
It's not a lake. It's an ocean.
Alan, wake up.
What? Alright guys, well, I guess we're like Zane and we kind of just wrote ourselves out of history. I'm not no, we didn't disappear completely because Alice remembered us. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this crazy ride as much as I did. I really enjoyed the little sequence where you had to like light up the words to go farther. That was a really cool concept. Yeah, but all in all, I think it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna sign off now, but I'll go ahead and like put up the manuscript pages that I did find just in case you guys are interested in seeing them. But yeah, it, and I'll see you guys in the next game.
Departure by Alan Wake. The man turned to face me. His face was covered in shadows. It was hard to make him out in the darkness of the forest that surrounded us, but the axe he lifted was plain to see. It glistened with the blood of his victim. He grinned madly. The shadows were alive, distorting his features. It was a scene from a nightmare. But I was awake. The Taken stood before me. It was impossible to focus on it, as if it stood in a blind spot caused by a brain tumor and eye disease. It was bleeding shadows like ink underwater, like a cloud of blood from a shark bite. I was terrified. I squeezed the flashlight like my life depended on it, willing it to stop coming any closer. Suddenly something gave, and the light seemed to shine brighter. I heard them before I saw them, swooping down from the sky and screeching as they came. I spun around just as the cloud was upon me. For an instant, I stared into 100 dead eyes, black pearls glittering in the darkness. I raised the flashlight and the swarm exploded like fireworks. Feathers burned, turned into ash. I couldn't hear my scream above there. At first, I kept finding the pages as if by accident. The book I couldn't remember was either a terrible and true prophecy or an act of creation that had rewritten the world. I began to hunt the pages feverishly, for they held the answer to the mystery. With it, I could save myself. With it, I could save Alice. I stepped into the gas station's garage. It was dark and quiet. The place was a mess. It looked like someone trashed the place or that there'd been some kind of fight. Light spilled into the room through an open door at the back, and I made my way toward it. Without any warning, I was blinded by a bright light. An old portable TV on the shelf had come alive by itself. Impossibly, I could see myself on the screen, talking like a madman. "The cabin on Cauldron Lake?" she asked. The sheriff looked at me suspiciously. The early morning light flooded through the office windows. I would probably never have gotten out of the woods alive without her help, but I couldn't tell her the truth of what I'd faced the previous night. She'd think I was lying or crazy. She'd lock me up, and she wouldn't help me find Alice. Stucky spat on the garage floor and tried to shake the cobwebs from his head. Ever since the couple never showed to pick up the keys, things had been fuzzy. Something, a feeling caught his attention. Stucky looked up and stared as his brain tried in vain to process the horror before him. He stumbled back, knocking over a can of oil. A black pool spread across the floor while he struggled for a brief moment, then let go as the unrelenting darkness engulfed him.
It's true what they say about the fall and the sudden stop at the end. I'd lain here in the snow while the lurid chain of scenes that had led me here kept playing in my head. A rerun of my own private snuff movie. A memory of my corpse, alone at my own wake, thinking in metaphors again. The femme fatale was gone. Only a sour taste remained of the kiss that killed me. This was a late goodbye. 13 years after I'd gotten my revenge, it had finally caught up with me. It had been a long time to bear the pain. My blood painted the snow red, a gruesome slushy, dissolved all the scattered painkillers and leisurely dripped down to the sewer, mingling with the bile of the city, becoming one with it. I can see them now, my wife and my baby. Honey, I'm home.
In spite of its human mask, to describe the dark presence as intelligent would have implied human qualities on something decidedly inhuman. Nonetheless, it found the one spot in the diner that was dark enough. Some light spilled into the corridor, ravaging it, but it took the pain. Horrible as it was, the writer would soon fix that. He would be coming to the one place where it still had power. The kidnapper fired his gun one last time, and the shadow vanished into the darkness it had come from. See? Nothing to it, Wake. The thought of Alice in his hands was revolting. We stood on the wooden platform of Lover's Peak, the waterfall on the mountain behind us, the lights of the radio mast blinking red in the heights above. I fought with the urge to take a swing, force myself to speak. Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife? Barry had never gotten along with Alice, but he knew Alan loved her with an almost frightening intensity. And now something had happened to Alice. And here was Al armed with a gun and saying things people got put in padded cells for. It was as if his friend had experienced a massive psychotic episode and was now totally disconnected from reality. It scared the shit out of Barry. The air in the visitor center was heavy with an awful smell, as if some rotten drowned thing had crawled up from its grave. Rusty kept coughing blood. My eyes were drawn to the twisted shape of his broken leg. The attack had been vicious. Max whined in his cage. Rusty's eyes were wild with fear and terror. He gasped. "Mr. Wake, it happened just the way it was on that page." At the last instant, I changed direction and threw myself down. The axe splintered the trunk of a tree. I stumbled into the pool of bright light. My lungs burned. I was too exhausted to move. I tensed as I waited for the killing blow, but it never came. I raised my head. Nothing moved in the darkness beyond. For the moment, bathed in the cold light, I was safe. In that last instant of consciousness, Rusty thought about Rose. He was older than she was. Rose was barely out of her teens, but she made him feel young and forget what a train wreck his long-dead marriage had been. He still wore the ring. He'd been waiting for her to tell him to take it off. Now she never would. Mr. Randolph liked Rose. That little smile she had, how she was still sweet when life had tried so hard to make her bitter. It wasn't any of his business what she did in her trailer, but those strangers, the writer and his smart-ass sidekick, looked like trouble, and they'd been in there for hours, way past her normal bedtime. He reached for the phone and called the sheriff's station. For decades, the darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's skin slept fitfully in the dark place that was its home and prison. It was hungry and in pain. It dreamed of its nights of glory when the poet's writing had called it from the depths and given it a brief, terrible taste of power and freedom. The rock stars had stirred it from the deep sleep the poet had sunk it back to in the end. When it sensed the writer on the ferry, it opened its eyes. Sarah trusted her gut, and her gut said Agent Nightingale was an asshole. He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers. Where was Alan Wake? What was this about an accident? Where was his wife? And most importantly, why did she let Wake go? He wouldn't answer her questions. Federal business was all he'd say. The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework. Wrapped in darkness, it floated in midair, twitching. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The heavy object lurched at me with impossible force. I threw myself out of the way, but just barely. When I turned my flashlight on it, it shook in a dark rage before it flew at me again. I slammed the door shut right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to form, the asshole actually thought I would obey. I had no sympathy left, no guilt either, not for him. I took a moment to savor the scream. I bet I had a smile on my face. It was all that I had time for. The dark presence was inside the lodge with me. The darkness surged towards me, sucking everything loose from the ground into its depths, tugging at my clothes. I saw the flare the kidnapper had dropped and threw myself towards it just as I felt my feet leave the ground. The darkness embraced me with the force of a tornado. Somehow I managed to light the flare. The darkness roared and cast me away. I fell toward the dark waters of the lake far below. Rose didn't know how the strange old lady got in her trailer, and she looked wrong somehow. The woman showed her teeth in an approximation of a smile and traced a finger down Rose's cheek. "Pretty girl," she said. Rose felt as if she was falling asleep, but her knees didn't buckle. The crone spoke in a whisper, her words ice cold and dark in Rose's ear. Touched by the dark presence, Rose was lost in a dreamland where everything was drawn in black and gray crayons. The old lady had promised her that all her wishes would come true. She would be Alan Wake's muse. She was smiling so hard it hurt her face. She crushed a bottle full of sleeping pills into the coffee. Deep down inside, she was screaming in terror. Zane could feel the poems, taking form, shaping things. As he experimented, he imagined he could almost feel the power surging through the keys of the typewriter. It exhilarated him. But there was fear, too. If not for his young assistant Emile, he would have given it up. But Emile convinced him otherwise. He too had a way with words. Hartman followed the fall of Alan Wake with his binoculars. When the writer hit the water, he ordered Jack to take the boat to him. The spot was easy to see in the dark, even with all the extra lights in the boat. The flare floated and kept burning even in the water. Jack turned the radio louder as the engine sputtered. The music was rough and clanking, something the Anderson brothers would no doubt have enjoyed. But Hartman chose to ignore it. Wake was finally within his reach. Hartman knew he was no creator. He had no ambitions on that front, and he certainly didn't want to end up like every artist he had worked with here, damaged in ways that were hard to describe, or worse. It was enough for Hartman to maintain creative control and provide direction, to be a producer. That was what most of these people were in need of anyway. Of course, suitable subjects were few and far in between. I stared at the Viking paraphernalia that littered the area, surrounding an unlikely centerpiece. A full-size stage complete with an impressive sound system with all the trimmings, including a dragon. It took a special kind of crazy to build something like this in a remote field. When the sky split open with a deafening boom and the music started blasting, it felt strangely appropriate. For the moment, Barry was just glad he had survived the fall. He had been separated from Al, and there was no easy way to climb back up. He told himself he'd be okay in the gloomy forest at night. He would just have to wait for a while for Al to find his way down. Barry turned when he heard the heavy footsteps and saw the movement. The man-shaped shadow lunged at him from the bushes, an axe held high. Barry screamed and threw up his hand. The world exploded. Mott knew that Wake was smarter than him. Wake had more money, a beautiful wife, everything. And Hartman said Wake was important. That made him better than Mott. But Mott was calling the shots now. He'd expected Wake to whimper and grovel, but instead, he seemed willing to fight. Mott knew he'd gotten under Wake's skin, if only Mott actually had his wife. The thought made him shiver. Hartman hurried down the corridor. He had disliked leaving Wake when he was surely at his most susceptible to therapy. But this was not an ordinary storm. Wake had been writing, and he had woken something up in the depths of the lake. Now, it was coming for him. Hartman had naturally prepared for a situation like this. The idiot brothers would keep Wake distracted while Hartman double-checked everything, just to be sure. Hartman watched as Wake's features slackened. The man was bullheaded, no doubt. Even lying on the bed, he'd almost broken Hartman's nose the second time. But with a little time, he could break Wake down, give him proper direction. Wake was easily the most promising subject he had had. Well, since Tom, really. "Sleep well, Alan," Hartman whispered with a smile. "Let me take care of you." He sniffed hard to clear his throbbing nose, swallowed blood, and barely tasted it. Nightingale tried to make sense of the manuscript. It was disjointed and strange. He didn't understand half of it, but it all rang true. Impossibly true. He took out his hip flask when he reached the page that described how he reached the page that made him take out his hip flask. It wasn't the booze that made his mind reel. Nightingale felt the situation veering out of his control, but the gun at least felt steady in his hands. He was ready to fire, resolved that he would let this happen over his dead body. And yet he hesitated. He had seen this moment before, read it in the page. He was transfixed by the déjà vu and the horror that he was a character in a story someone had written. Then the monstrous presence burst in behind him and dragged him into the night. The darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's face was furious. The story in the manuscript had been making it stronger all the time, but now the light had set the writer free and hurt it, weakened it. It was only a matter of days before the dark presence would be strong again, but meanwhile, it would be difficult to recapture the writer. Cynthia Weaver worked hard, following her obsessive rituals, sometimes fighting them, always giving in to them in the end. She haunted the halls of Bright Falls abandoned power plant. She marked her caches with light-sensitive paint that could only be seen by eyes that had been touched by darkness and saved by light like she'd been. She was preparing defenses and supply lines for the war she knew would come. The war between the forces of light and darkness. For it to be free, the dark presence needed the writer to finish the story. Again and again, the story let it get frustratingly close to the writer without letting it capture him. It was bound by the events depicted in the manuscript, but it could pursue the writer indirectly, put others on the task and stop those who would help him. It took over everything in its path, made them its puppets, and sent them after Alan Wake. Alice had screamed until she had no voice left to scream. Around her, the darkness was alive. It was cold and wet and malevolent and without end. She was a prisoner, trapped in the dark place. The terror would have burned her mind out, but one thing made her hang on. She could sense Alan in the dark. She could hear him. She could see the words he was writing as flickering shadows. He sensed her too. He was trying to work his way to her. Barry was in his element, making calls, making things happen, even if he didn't entirely know what those things were. He wouldn't let the hot sheriff chick down. Even if every noise he heard from outside, and he heard plenty, made him jump. He had only paused to text Al a message, told him to hurry up. Suddenly, Barry froze in mid-dial. A window broke somewhere in the building, and then the lights went out. The story I had written in the cabin had come true. Touched by the dark presence, I had written a horror story, but the end was still missing. The story was incomplete, and the last unfinished page of the manuscript still sat in the typewriter in the cabin study. If I could get back there, if I could read the page, then I could write my own ending to this story and save Alice. Sarah was almost starting to relax. Maybe they could turn this into a win yet. Suddenly, there was a piercing sound, like a table saw gone wild, as 100 birds made out of shadows swarmed into the rotor. The chopper bucked wildly and the board lit up, telling her what she already knew. They were going down. Barry Wheeler screamed next to her. The dark presence was no longer trying to capture the writer so he could create the ending it wanted. The writer knew too much. He was too strong. And he carried a weapon left behind by Thomas Zane, something that could hurt it. Now, the darkness was doing everything in its power to simply stop the writer from ever reaching Cauldron Lake and the dark place it came from. The bottom of Cauldron Lake was a graveyard of things the lake had claimed in one way or another over the decades. The dark presence brought them up in its wake, scattering the rotten waterlogged hull of an old boat here, the remains of a long-ago crashed airplane there. Trees shattered under the impacts. The earth groaned. It didn't even notice. Zane cut its heart out, but it didn't die. The thing that wore Barbara's face kept crooning sweet nothings sugar-laced with poison. He put on the suit, untied the monster from the chair. The thing in his arms thrashed weakly, but he held fast. He stepped outside, off the pier, and into the dark water, a sinking pinprick of light descending toward a bottom that never came. The dark place I found myself in was unlike anything I could ever have imagined. It wasn't solid. It flowed. It was conceptual and subjective. For someone else, an artist in another field, it would have been very different. I could sense the story of the manuscript all around me, the words and ideas floating in the air, poised to become real. After Zane had gone, I stood alone in the shifting dream that was the dark place. I had to find a way to the cabin. I had written myself a way through this place in the manuscript. I followed the idea of a path. I had written myself across the ocean that blocked my way, and with that, there was a bridge to the island beyond. The idea of the cabin flickered in the underwater darkness. I willed the cabin to be real, and it was.